Hey, 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 guess who is back? It is us. It is DJ Maya and DJ Pooh Bear. This is the Mad Chatter Show. And for those of you who are listening, this is the second hour to the radio podcast. This is where I like to say we go down the spiritual rabbit hole. So this is WVEWLP 107.7 FM, Brattleboro's community radio that we love, love, love so much. And those of you, my people out there who are listening online, blessings and infinite love to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in. I know you're scattered all over there. I send you love, reaching out to you. This is going to be aired on Friday night. So this is tonight when it's being aired. Obviously, right now in this time and space, it's not, but it's usually Fridays from 10 to midnight Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, we go down the spiritual rabbit hole. So before I go any further I just want to say that the views and opinions expressed on this program are me and my co-host and my guest and not of the radio station. So keep your negative comments to yourself. I don't want them. So with that being said, I want to bring back my co-host, DJ Pooh Bear. Say what's up. How are you doing? And let's introduce who you brought for us today. Take it away.
Hey, everybody. It's good to be back. Coming to you from Alberta, Canada, once again. This was one that's been on the booked list for quite some time that I've been waiting for because I have always wanted to talk to somebody from the MUFON office. And tonight we are going to talk to Jessie Peak, and he is a MUFON field investigator. Jessie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you guys for having me on. I'm a MUFON State Section Director in the state of Pennsylvania, City of Philadelphia, Section 1. I've been with them since 2019, kind of, in all kinds of aspects of MUFON and all the different programs they have. Just really passionate about the subject. So this is kind of my way of giving back and being able to give to the field. So that's a little short and sweet thing.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show. We are super excited to talk to you. I know that this is all fairly still new for DJ Pooh Bear, but for me, I have been down this rabbit hole for quite some time now, and I've had this passion to be an investigator. I've always wanted to be like a private investigator. I even had a chance to, and I blew it. I lost a business card and I've lost my opportunity to be assistant to a private investigator. But it wasn't paranormal stuff. So this is another passion. And so anyone that is into investigating, I love hearing about the field work, the process, the things that you discover. So I'm super excited to talk to you. Love to you over there in PA. Would
Yeah.
you like to let people know a little bit about how you got interested in field investigating, and wherever you want to go from there is totally up to you. Take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of got into the field a little late, but I guess I am kind of young. So I am one of the younger people that are in MUFON doing investigations, things like that. But it was about 2017, 2016 is when I really kind of started doing my own research. A couple years prior, I had seen like all the different stuff on the History Channel, the UFO shows and things like that. Grabbed my attention immediately because I had no idea there was a community out there of people in ufology doing investigations, you know what I mean, having TV shows, really asking the hard questions. I especially fell in love with Eric von Daniken, his books Chariots of the Gods. That was the first book I had read since high school, you know what I mean, and I was immediately hooked. Could not put it down. I reread it again, and everything he was saying in that book made sense to me. It just clicked. And it was kind of like, this is like what we need. This is what people need. They need to have that other option of what the possibilities are out there. So, and then I came across MUFON in one of the shows. They were doing a live investigation in Bucks County, really in the early years. And I was like, oh my God, you can investigate this stuff. Come to find out, it's a worldwide organization, and they have a whole MUFON, their own university, where you go on, you do your training, get your certifications. They have a whole field investigator training course. So that was kind of like real eye-opening to me because I was in the Boy Scouts, I was an Eagle Scout, I was in the Army. So this was kind of like another way of serving in a sense too. So it all came together, and in 2019 I joined, and I haven't looked back since.
Wow. Can you talk a little bit about the school? I didn't know they had a school.
Yeah, I was really surprised about that as well. Because when I joined to become a field investigator, you have to buy a huge manual. You have to learn the manual. You got to take an exam at the end. You got to pass with an 80 or higher. It's a 100-question exam. Probably one of the hardest tests I've ever had to take in my life. Harder than anything I've ever taken in school, for sure. So after I passed that, we do two weeks training with the director of investigations, and during that time, he let you know that MUFON has their own university, and that you actually have to log on, do your credentials, and take these different certification classes to have under your belt before they send you out in the field investigating. All kinds of stuff like astronomy, how to collect evidence. I mean, it goes on. And they actually just recently redid MUFON University with all updated courses, because it's been a couple of years. So now everything is updated with technology, and it's really, really cool. So that was an experience all in itself. The training is very, very extensive, something I didn't know about MUFON before. But if you're going to be investigating this kind of stuff and actually going out and helping people, it's good to have that stuff under your belt to know what you're talking about when you're doing an investigation. So pretty cool stuff.
How long is the schooling?
So there's no term. Once you get the manual and you purchase that manual, you have a year to take the field investigator exam. Once you take that exam, you'll have I don't know if it's still the same for me, but we had to do 2 weeks. And during that time, we worked with the director of investigations, and then he assigned us which certification courses to take on the university. There was like 6 of them. We had to have that done within a 2-week period. By the time we were finished the last class with him to become a trainee investigator. And then once you do that, you move on, you do an investigation kind of with supervision with your state section director. And if you do good after that, you're kind of on your own at that point.
Wow. Do you have to go away from home at any point in time for a while or anything like that?
No, you can do everything right from your computer or your phone or however you want to do it. The biggest part is learning that manual, because the manual is probably about an inch and a half thick. It goes over every type of investigative tool that you'll ever have to learn. Some of the stuff that you probably will never even use, but it's in there to know just in case anything ever does pop up. I mean, MUFON, we have different tiers of different chains of commands and things like that. Like we have the ERT, which is I'm a part of, which is the Experience and Resource Team. That has its own training. There's the MUFON dive team that goes out and does the dives in the lakes and the oceans and USO cases. We have the CAG assistance group, case assistance group. They go out and they help veteran investigators do like crazy, really cool evidence-based cases. So there's a bunch of different parts of MUFON, which is why you kind of got to learn all the ins and outs and all the different investigating types.
So before I invest my time and energy into the schooling, the manual, I feel like I feel like it would be a challenge for me to do this manual. So I'm curious, what is like the shortest amount of time somebody has?
So I mean, like it take up to a year to do it. So you have that whole time to study the manual. You don't have to rush. You know what I mean?
It takes up to a year, but has anyone done it in like 3 months?
Oh no, I'm saying you can take that long. You don't have to. I think I did it within 3 or 4 months.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can learn
I was like, I can get that.
If you're a fast learner, you can be done in a month and take it.
Yeah.
I don't recommend that. Take the time and kind of learn the ins and outs before you take it, because I'm telling you, the exam is the hardest part. Once you pass the exam and you do the courses with the director of investigations, he walks you through everything. It's a pretty simple, easy process. And then you take the certification courses, which are very simple. It's just to give you the basic knowledge of different parts of investigating.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. I went to school to be a paralegal, and I had to learn 11 areas of law in 12 months. And wow. I was like, it was a whole team of us, and I made sure we stuck together, and we were like the top in the class. Like I graduated with like a 3.6.
Oh, that's great.
Well, it would have been straight A's, but I left for 3 weeks and it threw off my momentum. So I was like, oh, but I know that when you're passionate about something, you can really put yourself into it. And, and
Yeah.
even if someone thinks it's too hard, it's never too hard, especially if you're interested in something, it becomes exciting and fun. So I would love to look into it. I really would. I would. So let's talk about some of the exciting things you first stumbled across in the field, and then DJ Pooh Bear, if you want to jump in at any point in time, feel free to.
So I mean, the first real big thing I found out with MUFON is the camaraderie, the people, everybody that's involved in MUFON, whether they're a member or a fellow investigator or even someone that's higher up the chain of command, everybody is there to help one another. You know what I mean? It's not like this state versus that state or this country versus that country. It's everybody that's on board is there to help one another. And I made a lot of friends in this field and within MUFON and also in the field in general. But like MUFON has some really cool scientific aspects and people with backgrounds that are scientists and astronomers. And I got to really learn from them, which helped me in my investigations as well. And the investigating aspect, they're, 99% of the time, it's a case of somebody just seeing an object in the sky, not a lot of detail, no evidence base, maybe a photo or a video or something like that. Very simple stuff. That can be done, doing phone interviews, or if you want to go out to the location and take a look. Then there's the other cases that do have evidence. You'll definitely have to take another investigator, and usually you have to be on the strike team to do those kinds of cases. MUFON strike team usually gets out to any location within 24 hours of the incident. You have to have your own investigative equipment, like your different EMF meters, the radiation meters, all that kind of stuff, collection vials so you can take evidence. This way, we can go ahead and send it out to our lab because MUFON does have our own lab as well. So we can do all the research and have the data there back for the individual that reported the case in the first place. So yeah, I mean, it's really cool. It's fun. And there's cases overseas that you can go and do if you're traveling. I mean, there's just so many different aspects of it. There's something for everybody. So, no matter what you're interested in the field of ufology, I'm sure you'll find something that you'll enjoy and move on.
That's really cool. You were saying a lot of it comes from phone, videos or pictures over the phone. Is a lot of that really easy to determine whether or not it's like a lens flare or a misidentified satellite? Or do you actually get some really compelling ones that, are like, okay, that might actually be something kind of deal?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely get some stuff that's interesting. A lot of people hear that and they're like, oh, it's just video stuff. It's not important. But some of that stuff, it really is cool because, with technology being so vast as it is now, everybody has a Ring doorbell camera, or at least somebody on your block has one. And then there's different tools that MUFON and the field of ufology have built. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of MADD units. Anybody in the world can buy a MADD unit. Any ufologist, any person, any civilian, whatever. You take it, you hook it up to your computer at home. It does have an alert ring on it. So when it does pick something up, it alerts you and lets you know, and it gives you the readings on your computer. And basically what this device does, it picks up things that don't have normal trackers. Like, so for example, it wouldn't pick up a helicopter or a plane that's driving by. It would pick up some kind of anomaly that's flying in the sky. And usually this is how we can track a UFO if we have enough going across a single state. Really cool stuff. So yeah, there's a bunch of different things you can use. It's neat.
That sounds really cool, actually. What? Sorry, they just blanked.
They wiped you.
Yeah,
I was curious. Are there levels of field investigators, like for the same thing? So for people who have had sightings, but maybe they think something was left behind, like a weird mark in the grass or something. Would the more experienced one would that go to them? Or would it be for like the rookie? Or does it matter? Is it like, it's the like first come, first serve? Is it like DoorDash? Whoever gets it.
So, for example, I'm a state section director. So I have field investigators that are in my section that I assign cases to. So, for example, I might have somebody that just started a couple of weeks ago, and I might have someone that is a veteran. I would take somebody that just report that maybe it was just a photo or a video, and I would give that to, my newer field investigator and have them do that case. And then my veteran guy would be the guy to go and get the evidence and see if he can collect anything. Just because someone just starting out probably isn't going to have all the tools to be able to go out in the field anyway, because usually they're just getting into it all. It took me a while just to get my equipment up. You know what I mean? It took about a year or two to fully get it stocked to where I could go in the field and do something like that. And usually it's the strike team that gets sent out within the 24 hours to go and do those type of investigations. If they don't do it, then they'll assign it to a section director like me, and I'll have my veteran guy go out and take care of it.
Well, okay, nice. I had a question for you, but they took it from my mind. They've been doing that lately. It's so strange. I mean, I can ask you 101 questions, really, but did you remember yours, DJ Pooh Bear?
I was just gonna say, do you ever run across interjection from higher authorities when you guys are investigating something? Like, you guys kind of get pushed off of an investigation by a different agency, we'd say.
So I've heard stories of this happening, not as recently, but more back in the day when MUFON, because MUFON's been around since 1969. So back in the day when Project Blue Book and that stuff was over with, and they were kind of still into this whole cover-up thing. I've heard stories of investigators being turned away or being chased away off of different properties, things like that. Today, when we've had things happen where some of our guys might be out investigating a case with somebody, and we'll see people that may look like government officials out there, but they don't ever come up anymore and introduce themselves and kind of threaten that kind of thing anymore. It's a different way they kind of do it. They kind of show themselves, but don't make contact, if you know what I mean. So it kind of confirms that it's a high level case in some cases. So, but yeah, definitely for sure back in the day, a lot more often.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the different investigating equipment that you guys use?
Yeah, so I was just saying, some of the stuff we have, we can do right on the computer, like videos and photos. We have photo forensics. Anybody can go and use it. You go to photoforensics.com, and you can put any video or any photo in there and get all the metadata for the phone, for the video. So for example, when somebody sends a video or a photo in, they'll say, hey, I took it on this date at this time with this phone, and I was in this area. So when you put that through and you look at the metadata, it gives you all that information. So you can confirm if that person is actually telling the truth or if they're lying. So if I go in there, you told me it was an iPhone and you told me it was on 6/24, and I go in there and it looks and it's 11/23 and it's with some other kind of Android phone, I know something's a little fishy with that case at that point. So that's good for that. And then we're also able to see if an object is really put in the video or the photo, or if it's a real object in the photo. So that's a really good app we have. The MADD, like I was telling you about, that's a great thing, because what's going on in MUFON now, a lot of the chapters are getting people to purchase the MADD units and go across the state. So as these objects fly from one part of the United States across to the other, we can track these objects and see the trajectory that they're going, which is really, really cool. And so when we get a case, the first thing I do is I look up local MADD units, whichever in that area. And if they're picking up weird signals at that time, that confirms that somebody probably really did see something strange. You know what I mean? So we have that. We have all of our personal equipment that I get. I have EMF readers. I have fluorescent lights. The list just goes on. There's so many different things that you can use. Night vision goggles, very important. And there's so many different things that you can use. But those are some of the main ones that we use on an everyday basis.
Have you ever seen anything while out doing an investigation? Have you ever caught anything
I've never caught nothing during someone else's investigation, but I've had my own sightings as well. It was 2021. Me and my dad had a sighting, and I had already been an investigator. Right here in the city of Philadelphia, broad daylight. It wasn't nighttime. He actually saw it first, and when I got into the field, he was a little skeptical about about this stuff anyway. So it was kind of cool that my first sighting was with my dad. So we had seen 4 gold objects, and at first we were, I'm asking him what it is, and it looked like it could be planes, but then we looked, there's no obstructions, there's no wings, solid gold objects. I don't know if they were actually the color of the gold or if it was the sunlight bouncing off of them. They were flying in 2-2 formation behind each other, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And I was trying to get my phone out and video record everything, but my phone kind of went dummy on me. And this is a brand new phone, just got it. And it started locking up on me, and I could not take the video of the objects. So we're driving along with side by side at this time. I get to a stoplight, and the objects continue to go, and they go from that 2 and 2, and they form into a single file. Now as I'm still playing with the phone, the first one blinks out, and then the second one blinks out. And then my phone comes back on. I have a photo and video of the last 2 objects, and that third one kind of blinking out. But when we got home, I didn't know I had the video. When I got home, I found that it did record during the time my phone was whacking out, which was really weird. When we got there, I mean, to see something like that, and you're seeing planes and other things in the sky, and you see objects just disappear before your eyes, it kind of whacks you out. But it was pretty cool. And then to find that video, and later to find out that a lot of different UFO sightings had these electrical malfunctions that occurred during these sightings. Leonard Stringfield was a big investigator of that back in the day. We're talking about vehicle, car batteries, cell phones, all this kind of stuff. And it didn't make sense for my phone to be acting up when it was brand new. So that kind of is how I started the project that I run now, where we only investigate those kind of sightings. But from that point on, my dad was a believer, and really kind of made me look at things differently in the field. So it was really cool. And we've been going to conferences together now, and we do it all. So it kind of was a bonding moment in a way too. So it was really neat.
So do you guys still do the old school stuff too? Like watch the internet for chatter about sightings and the radio for chatter? Because like I know even recently here in Canada there was like a like massive, well, it was caught on the airplane radios going back and forth about sightings to I don't know if it was you guys or not, right over I think it was Winnipeg, and there was several pilots describing like lights in the skies. Do you guys still monitor that sort of thing to do investigations as well?
So the higher ups in MUFON, they always pay attention to everything going on. Like when the hearings are happening, they're still happening. MUFON representatives are always there. We always try to send somebody to those locations and to these things so we can, be involved with them. Especially when the hearings were happening. Our director actually went out to Washington. He was out there during some of them and was asked to come back and brief over 16 senators and politicians. So we do pay attention to things like that and try to get involved as much as we can. And if we're allowed to investigate things like that, where we get access to like the radio, like stuff like that, and the flight radar and everything, we'll definitely look into stuff like that because the public wants to know. And MUFON to a lot of people is like the place to go to get information. So we have to stay up to date on that, and it also helps us in our investigations later on down the line as well.
Yeah. Wow. I have a question about alien abductions. Have you come across any strange alien abduction stories? Do you get that in the field?
Yeah, so
part of your
so MUFON has the ERT, which is the Experiencer Resource Team. You got to do a little bit of separate training for that as well. I'm a part of that group. So we deal with anything contact, abductions, experiences, anything like that. The cases are investigated differently. For example, a regular sighting case, we actually investigate that case. When it's an experience, we don't investigate it to give you an answer at the end. We're there to specifically help you through the process of your contact experience, to get you the help that you need, to show you that there's a community out there, to get you to understand your experience, for better or for worse, whichever it may be. And we really work like a kind of therapist in a way. We're there to make sure that person can fully cope with life after they have their experiences. And we have a lot of different medical professionals that are on board, therapists and psychiatric individuals that can help these people further with their care if they need it. We also have hypnotherapists that we can sit them down with and do the hypnotherapy. And pretty much every which way we go with it, we can do. which is really cool because, you know, we get a lot more reports now this year. We've had more reports for the ERT than any year combined. So it's getting busier and busier with people having more contact experiences.
So I know everybody knows what I'm about to ask next. So I have been waiting to be able to assist in a certain type of way. And maybe you can give me some input on this. So I have a few friends that I like to put under hypnosis, and I'm always asking them, like, have you guys seen any UFOs? Have you ever seen a UFO? Because I know that usually if you saw a UFO, it's their way of letting you know, yes, we do exist. Yes, you're right. We are confirming what you suspect. We do exist. And then there's also the little piece of the puzzle that I like to fill in is, and most likely you've been abducted. Because it happens within a blink of an eye. So
Right.
I did a hypnosis session with a few people, and one of my friends, she had told me that her and her brothers had seen a UFO. And I believe her mom told me that he was interviewed by, was it Stan Gordon? Somebody of MUFON. I think he was interviewed. They had seen it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was part of MUFON then, or I'm not sure. I just remember she said she did an interview with somebody. But I told her, let's go back to when you saw that UFO, because I could do that. I could say with my hypnotherapy, I'm a QHT practitioner. So with my hypnosis, I've kind of mastered it a little bit. So I can take people back anywhere. I can take you back to a dream, a time, a place, a memory, anything, a deja vu, anytime, any place. So I said, let's go back to when you saw the UFO and let's find out what happened. And sure enough, they were all abducted. And so the way I had her do it is quite clever. I'll make this brief. Quite clever. I had never done this before in my life. It was new. I did it, a session for her and her boyfriend. I had them both go on my spaceship, and then I took them to a cosmic resort up in the universe somewhere. And I had their higher selves come and meet them. So they had a meet and greet and sit down and have some snacks and hors d'oeuvres with their higher selves, which has never been heard of. She was pregnant and she wanted to know about her baby. So I had the soul come in and talk to her. Wow. And then I had the higher self take her on a walk into a side room where it's a private movie theater for her and her higher self with some popcorn. And I said, I want you to sit down with your higher self and watch this like a movie. Just be the observer. That way you don't, deal with the trauma, but that way your higher self can talk to you as well and explain some things to you. It was clever. I was so impressed with myself. I was like, wow, I didn't think, where'd this come from? And sure enough, she had hybrid children. She had a bunch of hybrid children, and some had died, not all of them make it. And what we did was we had the archangels come in and whisper in the hybrid children's ears, because we couldn't just rescue them. So I had to plant some seeds. So I had an angel stay with them, be invisible. And the angel whispered messages into her children's ears. And apparently in the future, there's going to be a revolt against from the hybrid children against whoever's creating them. And it's going to be like a civil war within there. Like, I can't wait. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God.
That's a lot of information.
I think they were on the moon. I can't remember. Dawn didn't see that, or DJ Foo Bear didn't see that. But yeah, so where was I going with that? So yeah, so I've always wanted to be able to assist when these people have these sightings and stuff. Like, I can take them back and find out what exactly happened and do it in a way where they don't get traumatized. And I do help people with PTSD so that way they can overcome it. So yeah, what do you think about that?
That's great, because you're certified. So we're always looking for people on the outside medical community that can actually be a resource when we need them to be for hypnotherapy and for, like therapy work. We have a list that we send people to in all the different states Basically, you work as like a volunteer towards MUFON, and you would be the hypnotherapist. And if we had people in your area that wanted that help, we would then send them to you. I think there's like a little bit of paperwork, but it's nothing crazy. You know what I mean? But you said
Yeah.
you wanted to join MUFON anyway. If you're a member, it would just be all great and it would work great together, you know?
Yes. I'm in New England, so I had to join Massachusetts because there was nobody in Vermont and the person in New Hampshire didn't get back to me. And Rhode Island is a little bit further away. So I was going to go. So I went with Massachusetts. And I've tried to communicate with them, but I don't know if they're just busy over there. I haven't been able to connect. I don't know if DJ Pooh Bear has been able to connect, but so yeah, it's good to be able to talk to you. Hopefully you could be the person that could
Absolutely.
can make that
That's
wheel
if you
turn.
want to do that, I could definitely get you in touch with the director of the ERT. His name is George MADDECH. He's actually an ex-medical doctor, MD. So you can talk to him about it and then get on that list and start working with MUFON that way. That would be great because we don't have a lot of resources like that to, you know, and
Yeah.
past year we've lost a lot of them. A lot of them have retired. So we are looking for more people to be able to send, you know, and kind of replace them. So that would be great. If you definitely want to do that, we can set that up.
Nice. Yes, I do. That would be great. And I'm definitely going to look into joining the school or be an investigator because I really would love to do something like that for the next good start. You know, the next 5 years of my life, I could see myself running around, you know, with some night vision goggles or something.
I think you'd be perfect for the ERT, honestly. I think that would be you have to be an investigator to be an ERT, but that would be where
Right.
you probably thrive at. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and that's a whole different section. You do different training. Like, I'm actually one of the veteran ERTs, so I train the new ones coming through. There's, you know, that we have them I implemented the Be There certificate. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's a free certification for therapists. And it kind of teaches you mental health aspects of working with individuals. It's free. You can go take it. So I usually have everybody that I'm training do that, read some books, some literature. But it would be a great process for you to be able to help these individuals because you're already licensed, you're already kind of doing that work, and you would fit right in. So I think it would be awesome.
Nice. Yes, I even had somebody have a dream, and I took him back to the dream, and it was like, at first it was a lot for him, and I can hear his breathing, and so I calmed him down, and then he was like freaking out. And I had to calm him down, you know. But it was like one of my very first ones. Now I'm way more advanced, but I did really good for my first one because he was on a ship with some grays, and they told him that Earth was running out of time, and they showed him something, and he like freaked out.
Wow.
And I was like, hold on, just relax. And then I took him deeper and took him more deeper, and he was fine after that because we got to get the deeper messages behind it. But when you just first jump into something, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can get a person stuck, you know. But I know what I'm doing, and I'm divinely guided. So they just like work through me, and somehow magically everything always
Well, that's good.
works out.
That's excellent.
But let's get back to you because I just start rambling. Um,
Oh, good.
you're inspiring, though. I hope you inspire so many more people to do this. You know, there's so many light workers out there. They don't know what to do, where to go. We're all doing podcasts right now, you know,
Right.
and I feel like there's a little bit more that we could do. Can you tell people like how you see this really benefiting? There's got to be like a deeper, you know, way to help people. I mean, do you see that what you're doing by going out and talking to people, that it offers them, you
100%.
know?
But I never knew it would have the impact that it actually has. The ERT is where I get way more of that than anywhere else. But I do get it with doing regular cases too. But people that are coming out and reaching out to MUFON that are experiencers and contactees, most of the time they have nobody else they can go to even speak about this with. So their own family won't even allow them to speak with them about it because they don't believe in it. So they're not even allowed to talk about it. So they're reaching out, they're looking for someone just to basically listen and be that open ear, that shoulder to lean on. And when you do that and you go through that process and you're on the phone for hours with people, throughout a month time, throughout multiple months, throughout a year being in contact with these people, by the end, 99% of the time, they've found a group by the end. They're talking with people, they have friends in the community. They've learned how to cope with their life, with their experiences happening, if they're still occurring, or if they just happened a couple times. They get some answers about what happened, and they're able to live with it. So I've gotten a lot of thank yous from people saying, you know, they appreciate the work that we're doing, because we are volunteers. You know what I mean? Everything we do, MUFON is fully volunteer based. Nobody gets paid to do what we do. So it is for the people that are passionate about this subject, that are taking their own time to go ahead and help people and figure out these boots on the ground, bolts, nuts and bolts cases as well. But you know, a lot of these individuals, they wouldn't have no one to talk to if MUFON wasn't around. And then what happens then? A lot of times they go and they continue to try to talk about it with people they can, and they either get sent to a mental institution or they get put on medication that really does not help the underlying cause and issue and problem. And then that underlying issue stays there that entire time. So it never goes away, it never gets fixed. And you're going through having all these different medications put on. I know people that have gotten put away in mental institutions for this, and then they come out and they can't talk about it anyway. So what did it do to help anybody? You know what I mean? And this is seriously happening on an everyday basis with people having contact. People don't realize how serious it can be if they don't have someone to talk to, and it's crazy. So I'm happy that I'm able to be here to do this for people, and I'm happy that MUFON thought of having this kind of chapter in the organization. So,
do you guys have any? We actually just interviewed Ryan Stacy a couple of weeks ago from Tessa here in Canada. Do you guys have any interaction with them, or what's your?
What are they called? Tessa?
Yeah, it's Tessa. I'm drawing the Experiencer Support Association.
No, I don't think I've ever heard of them.
Okay. No, I just didn't know if you guys did or not, because it sounds like a similar, you know, it's the Canadian version, eh? So it's
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
That's why I
heard of
if you guys had. I think it's a fairly new thing that they just got off the ground, so I wasn't sure.
Okay. See, now MUFON just this year we just started Project Aquarius. Project Aquarius is where we're trying to get all the little organizations that are doing things like them, and we're trying to get them and bring everybody together so MUFON and all the organizations can work together and put information and detailed stuff and work with each other, instead of having a bunch of different people all over the world trying to do the same thing, when we can come together and actually share the information. Because at the end of the day, it's about the people that are seeing these things. It's about the people that are having contact. And that's sort of the people we need to help by coming together and sharing this information with one another. So we're trying to get more and more groups that are coming out to kind of work with us and kind of put information out. So, you know, we are working with a bunch of them now. Like I know they're working with Newfork, the Center for UFO Studies, the big organizations like that. So they're always looking for little ones like that to try to, you know, lend a hand out and try to bring them in. So.
Oh, Maya, you're
Sorry.
muted.
So, I know, I saw that. So tell us some of the most recent exciting investigations you've been on. Anything exciting recently, or are they just like, eh?
So the most recent thing I'm doing, I'm actually about to finish a book. I actually came across, I haven't really talked about this yet, but I was at an auction about 2 or 3 years ago, and it was kind of auction where things go for $1 here and there, tables are full of stuff. And they were going to walk away from this table and leave all this junk when the guy was going to take it. I was like, hey, I'll give $1 for all this stuff. Because when I looked down and they were walking away, I had seen what said, I'm going to read it to you. It said, Department of Defense, Navy and Marine Corps Productions, Catalog and Audiovisual Productions, Assistant Secretary of Defense Public Affairs, June 1984. So that's why I did the dollar on it, because I seen that right before me are sitting DOD documents. They're official. You know what I mean? I was like, why not bet $1 and see what's in them? So I started going through and I'm looking at the information that's inside this book, and this is from 1984. But the actual information inside the book came out from the 70s. And when I open the book, when I'm reading through these documents, I'm looking at stuff that is so far technologically advanced and kind of mind blowing that they had this information already. And we kind of are talking about this stuff today and you never heard about this kind of stuff back when these documents were out. We're talking about some like really cool, crazy stuff here. We're talking about like space aeronautics, spacecraft launch vehicles, and ground support. There's so much different stuff here, and it just blows my mind. Nuclear propulsion they were talking about. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Just to read some of this stuff, trying to figure out where the good stuff is here. I have it in front of me.
Yes, I got one of those books at the last UFO event. It wasn't that book, but it was like, I don't have it with me, I don't think. The book was like 50 cents back then. It was like 1971.
Oh yeah.
And it was a little tiny book, and it had all these gems of esoterics and metaphysics and quantum and science. And
Yeah. That's what
I
I'm
was
here.
like, oh my God. And I was reading the ads. The ads are blowing me away. I'm like, yo, free. I'm like, does any of these still exist? I want to contact these people.
Yeah, right.
But they were like giving away this information back then, and nobody was. I don't think it was their time. I don't know who got it. I don't know who got
Really, what really got me excited about this stuff, these are the official DoD documents. This isn't a book where the documents are written. These are the official Secretary of Defense documents. And then I'm reading stuff like this: optics, particle physics and accelerators, quantum theory, solid mechanics, solid state physics, thermodynamics, and wave propagation. I mean, this is 1984, and this information was out in the 1970s. So
That's Doc Brown shit.
yeah,
Yes.
insane. So like I'm writing a whole chapter about it now, because if you put the timeline together and you look at Roswell, and then you look at like throughout UFO history, people releasing stuff to different organizations so they could repurpose it and give out, like Kevlar was made out of it, computer chips, etc. This falls right into that timeline of classified reverse engineered technology, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really cool stuff, and I think, you know, people need to start paying attention a little more to what's kind of out there. You know, it's kind of like right in front of our faces. We don't even know it, and just hearing stuff like that in the 70s is kind of mind blowing. You know.
Yeah.
It is. Yes. I'm like, do I know anyone? I would love to go walk around the old folks' home and just find out, where are they hiding? Like, hey, I need to throw like a keyword out to them, you know, like, I don't know, metaphysics.
Right.
And see who like pops up really quick. What?
And see, it's because like we're like part of the new generation, and a lot of like the old heads that had been in the field for a while, unfortunately they're passing away. So we only have so much time with the ones that are left. It's like, let's go get all that information from them and learn what they have learned. You know what I mean? So we can take that and do something with it throughout our lifetime. So, you know, it's a good time to be alive in a sense. And who would ever thought? I never thought when the government is taking UFO seriously. So it's a good time.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot like your yard sale find, I randomly ran across this on Google of all places. I was doing a search for something completely unrelated and stumbled across the CIA reading room, which a lot of people don't even know that exists. Like, you can just go in and look at anything declassified that the CIA has if you have the jam to put CIA reading room into your search engine, right? It's literal. I've found out shit that, like, yeah, you can just wander in off of Google onto the CIA reading room and just check out anything you want. Just throw stuff into the search and it'll bring up anything it has. Like, I didn't even know this existed. I found it about 2 months ago. I spent about a week on it, and my fiance thought I was losing my mind.
She's like, you're not allowed to spend no more than 4 days. 5 is too many. 7, I'm gonna start wondering about you. I'm gonna pull out the white jacket with straps.
This is the CIA reading room, you said?
Yeah.
So you just put that in and it'll come up?
Yeah, just Google CIA reading room and it'll bring it up, and you can just go in and start searching stuff.
I'm gonna check that out.
I've stumbled on, like, I think it was like the FBI or like the CIA. I'm like, who would come to these sites? Like, who would dare? I'm like, I ain't trying to even show my traffic, but I poked around for a minute, and I was like, whoa. and I left. But you're making me curious now. I'm like,
So you
If
don't
you
have to
can't
go.
find it, I'll send you a link.
There you go. So
Yeah.
if you actually go and like instead of going directly on their website, John Greenwald, you know John Greenwald, the UFO investigator, he's an author.
no.
He is the he has sent in the most FOIA requests and has gotten the most responses out of anybody in the world. And he put a complete book and file system together with all these documents. So you can go onto his website, and from his website, you can have the PDFs, all this information, and it's all FBI, DOD, CIA, DEA. I mean, every three-letter agency and FOIA requests that he put in and got results for are on that website.
Wow.
What was it again?
His name is John Greenwald, and it's called the Black Vault. That's what he calls it, the Black Vault.
The black ball or vault?
Vault would it be?
Okay. I feel like I've heard the black vault before.
It's the name of his book, but that's also what he named the archive of all these documents.
Yeah.
You can sit on there for days.
Bye.
True.
Mysterious place. Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah. For sure.
All right, that's the next rabbit hole. We'll do a whole show on that. No, I'm just kidding. Could you imagine?
Oh.
What would you like people to know about what you're doing, or you know, what were your highs and lows, or whatever you want to share, you know, whatever you like.
I mean, I'm in this because, you know, it's not like in the beginning, I was like, this is so cool. This is like, you know, kind of serving again. But I've gotten so passionate about what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I'm not somebody that's out there and it's like, hey, interview me all the time or put me on a documentary and do this stuff. If you just do what you're supposed to do and you help the right people, that stuff comes naturally. You don't got to worry about it. But I really enjoy helping people. I always have my entire life. So everything that I do, I try to collaborate with people all over in the field, and I have done this throughout the different projects that I've worked with. Bringing people together and actually giving real data and research out to the public is like kind of my focus. That's what I like to do. I've been involved in so many different projects, and it's because like I tried, and at one point I was doing way too much. You know, I kind of had to step back a little bit because I didn't have enough time to do my own stuff. You know, I just really enjoy the subject, and I really hope that we can move forward in a positive way to learn more about what's going on, and you know, just try to help as much as I possibly can. That's who I am. You know what I mean?
Yes. What do you think about the disclosure movement? It seems like I keep hearing disclosure, disclosure. I'm like, well, it did happen a long time ago. I think it was
Yes.
2017 they did the first disclosure.
I think this
Was
was happening since people were seeing UFOs in the sky.
Yeah, but I think the government, they talked about it.
Yeah, it was 2021. They came out and had the first hearing on UFOs at the Capitol.
I thought it was before that. Somebody told me it was like 2017.
That's when the New York Times broke the story of Lou Elizondo and To the Stars Academy with the guy from Blink 182. There was Hal Puthoff. He was in the DOD or CIA. Lou Elizondo worked in the Pentagon and the UAP office and investigating UFOs. And the story was sold to the New York Times by Leslie Kean, the UFO writer for the New York Times, and she released a story on it. And that's where like that got the ball rolling to where we are today. So
Oh, I wonder if I should send New York Times a little message about what I do. No, I'm trying to stay low key as long as I can. You know,
that's right.
I'm like,
That's right.
I don't need. Trust me, I already had a guy from the NSA call me and say that he wanted to do a hypnosis session with me, but then he's like, I want to do one with you, but then I don't think I can. Let me ask my job. I'll get back to you. I was like,
what?
And then he comes back the next day. Oh, my job said it's fine. I don't need to worry. I'm not that level of of clearance, and I'm like, so they got a file on me now, is what you're saying. And it was so bizarre. I was so uncomfortable. The creepy thing is he seemed like a nice, likable guy, and I didn't want to judge him. But he reminded me, he was like a doppelganger of a friend of mine, and I was like, yo, this is too bizarre. And his name was the same. My friend's name is Charles, and his name is Charlie. I'm like, yo, not only does he look like you, he's got your personality, and he's got your name.
That's weird.
And I don't like this. And then he said, yeah, well, don't worry, because I just met your double today. And I was like, you did what? I feel like there's something going on.
Yeah, that's weird. That's
you know. Have you come across any strange stuff like that? Like any weird calls or stories of strange like appearances or things that people can't explain? Does that ever come up? Or
well, I
no?
mean, I've had like stuff when I'm working with the ERT stuff, like, and then for a while before I joined MUFON, I was helping experiencers and really, really deep into the field and like going down rabbit holes. Helped a couple people, and then what I can only come away and explain is kind of like what's it called? When you're working with experiencers and say ETs, and they kind of come from them onto you. What is that called? I keep forgetting the term for that.
When they what?
So when you're helping an experiencer and you start having experiences yourself.
Oh, really? They activate you somehow, huh?
No, there's a term for that. I can't.
Oh, there's a term for that. Is it like a?
I don't want to say contaminate, but it kind of carries over to you. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so I had that happen to me, and I started having crazy experiences. So I'm kind of putting that into the book that I'm writing. But yeah, I started, after I was helping these people and kind of going down these crazy little rabbit holes with them, I started having experiences in the middle of the night in my room. And at first I was thinking that I was kind of dreaming while I was awake, or I was just intensely dreaming. But then I would start waking up in the morning and I would look at my arms and I'd have bruises on my hands and my arms. And then I started trying to pay attention to them a little more because I started seeing this. And then I talked about it with my parents one time. And then my dad said he laughed about it. He was like, that's been happening to me, but he laughed when he said it. And it was weird. It was like, okay, there's got to be something to that because our rooms are right next to each other. So I had someone remote view what was happening to me, and they kind of explained it as some kind of portal had opened up in an area in my room, and this thing was coming to kind of show me something. She didn't know what it was, but she described it as it looks like some kind of water-based area with a mountain or a river or something like that. But she said she couldn't figure out what the place was and what it was trying to show me. But she described the being as a tall, black, long arms, long fingers being, and what it's doing is it's trying to get my attention while I'm sleeping to show me this location. And that's why I'm being pushed into the wall, or I'm having my feet tugged and my arms tugged, waking up half off the bed or half on the bed. And for a while, I just, I was scared because I had never experienced anything like this. So it was freaking me out, and I wanted it to stop for the longest time. And finally it did. And then right when it started to stop, I kind of learned more about it. Did my training for the ERT, and then I was kind of mad that it stopped, like maybe it was something that was positive in my life. But yeah, that was a crazy time for sure. And then to hear that my dad was experiencing being woken up, being pushed into the wall as well, it was like, wow, this is a connection here. And the thing is about the remote viewer, I didn't tell her where the activity was coming from in my room. And it was coming from the closet area, and she had seen that without me giving her that information. So that would weird me out too. And again, you go right to your mind and you say, this is all just coincidence. You know what I mean? And then you start learning more about the field, and you're like, okay, it's not coincidence. Something's really happening here. So that was a crazy time.
Yeah.
So, did you have something to say, DJ Pooh Bear?
Just kind of some synchronicities here. My partner and I actually have like an orb highway that comes in and out of our closet, and we're pretty sure it's a portal.
Okay.
We've told Maya about it before. Like, you can our son was like standing at our bedroom door and he like kind of jolted back and he's like, "Did you see that?" I'm like, "Oh, you mean the two orbs that went right in front of your face?" He's like, "Yeah, what was that?" I'm like, "If I had to guess, I'd say fairies."
Wow, that's cool.
Right. And I have yet to get them on camera, but you can see them with the naked eye, and all three of us have. Like
Wow.
it's almost funny now. It's like, "Hey, where are you going?" Because they'll be there and then they'll just pass into the wall. And it's like, "You guys saw that, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, I saw it too."
That's crazy. You can actually see it with your own eyes because usually you can't. And it's only caught on video. So that's
Oh, these three are unique. They share the same brain. They do crazy stuff. They remote view without even knowing they remote view. They just, I don't know how long Spinta's been at it, but DJ Pooh Bear just woke up in November, like jumped up wide awake, and he's still trying to figure out all his powers and abilities.
wow.
Yeah, she was having a panic attack in Walmart the one day, and I literally went, "Hey, you're in this color of car with this color of trim, and your interior is this color." And like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You're gonna be okay. The problem's way over there. You're fine." And she's like, "How the fuck?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then my partner goes, "Oh, I see it." And she's like, "Yeah, she's parked by that thing." And she's like, "How do you guys know this?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
Mm-hmm. That was funny.
That's great.
I needed that moment. So I was told closets are portals, attics are portals. There's also portals in basements, but more likely in an attic because it's higher up. But your mirrors are also portals. Yeah, so our houses are filled. Not only that, they put portals in your body too. I've removed portals from people's teeth.
Wow, that's weird. Never heard that one. It's a first.
Oh wait, Spinta had a portal in her throat, and a gray was coming through, and Dawn seen it. It was choking her, and I had to do a healing session really quick to get rid of it. And that was captured. We were supposed to have a good old time, and it went into emergency mode. We had to call the ambulance type stuff, and I had to go to work right away.
Wow.
Luckily, DJ Pooh Bear over here is connected to Archangel Gabriel, so I love to call him in when I need assistance. So I believe we called him in then, didn't we? Wasn't that the time we called him in?
Yeah.
Don, remember?
And yeah, like literally in reality, like we were sitting here in this dimension, in this reality, in this stage of consciousness, and we were talking, and my partner started saying like she felt bothered and itchy, and I could see 3 marks coming out in red imprints as we were talking. It was just getting redder and redder on your throat. I'm like, something has you by the fucking throat.
Right.
And that's when we got a hold of Maya, and yeah, there was an entire healing session done, but I could actually see the marks starting to come through on something touching her from a different density.
And didn't you say you followed it? Sorry, didn't you say you followed it and you saw the gray?
I could see the aura of it pass through the wall and out of the house.
Yeah, you chased it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you usually call it like ESP, extrasensory perception. People that have that extra sixth sense in a way. Have you had that your whole life, or is it like has it just come out of nowhere?
My mom and I have always had it, like, and apparently I still have it because I actually had a UFO sighting when I was younger, and it was something I brought up with Maya on a previous show. And I kind of had a moment where, because it was seen by me and a bunch of other kids and some parents, and I had a moment of sadness. I'm like, oh, I wonder if they remember that. Well, about 4 or 5 days ago, sorry, my friend, one of the witnesses that was there with me, she's like, look, it was in 1993 or 94. We saw the lights in the sky. They were going back and forth to the hill for like an hour. And I was like, did I ask you something? And she's like, no. I'm like, why did you say that? She's like, well, I was just thinking about it. And she was agitated with me. And I'm like, so I just want to be clear. I didn't ask you about this incident that I just talked to my friend about on a podcast, and you don't watch my show. And she's like, no. I'm like, okay, just checking.
That part.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like I actually have to watch what I think now, because something has activated since I've opened my crown chakra and been getting into meditation and intentional astral travel and all of these things. Apparently I got to watch shit, but
Huh. That's really
Yeah. Well, would you like to let people know where they can reach you and find you and follow what
Yeah.
all the work that you do?
Yeah. So I have a website and a podcast. It's called UFO Encounters Worldwide. The website is ufoencountersworldwide.wordpress.com. It has all my contact info. So if anybody wants to reach out or needs anything, I always help anybody if I can. And the show comes out once a week. It's usually on all podcast platforms and the Unix network on Saturdays. Yeah, I think that's it. Should be done the book by the end of May. So that should be coming out sometime this year. Yeah, and that's just about it. And if you want to follow me, I'm on Twitter and Facebook as well.
That's awesome. So what do you think, DJ Pooh Bear? You're going to try to get involved with the MUFON out in Canada?
I might look into it. Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. You know, I live in the prairies and there's a lot of sky to look at. So,
Well, I definitely need people. So all the time.
Do you guys see UFOs a lot over there, Don?
there's a lot of sightings in Canada. Yeah.
Like our backyard.
Yeah, like our backyard.
Right.
We
Didn't you guys
literally-
see one too before?
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. We literally saw one probably about 2 months ago. It originally looked like it had the holographic shape of an airplane, but then when the trajectory of it passed, you could see through it. And it was like, oh, it's actually just this round thing. It's not really the plane. And you could see what was supposed to be the nose light actually passing through the body of the plane, because it was just holographic and it was a disc inside of it.
Yeah, you're definitely on a path. You got to figure out what that path is because this has happened to you for a reason.
Oh, this, what were you going to say?
We literally, I looked at the flight tracker because we're in a very rural area and we have a lot of air traffic and it's kind of weird. So I threw on the air tracker thing the other day because there was this plane going over and I felt the temperature change. There was no beginning destination, no end destination, and the name of the airline was Morningstar. Yeah, I see you guys.
Yeah. Oh, he's got all kinds of stuff, this guy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, man, you got to figure out what that is. There's something that's you're on some kind of path, man. That's for sure.
Yeah, he sure is. Did we ever look into that UFO one? Do you remember?
What's that?
Did we look into that UFO sighting? I don't remember.
No, we haven't looked into that yet.
Wow. Oh, and also, Jessie, we have our own spaceship. Her name is Tandori. We are the Cosmic Crusaders. And she is a Pleiadian crystal starship. She is sentient. And we travel the universe and we meet aliens and we have fun with them. We go to different planets, dimensions. We've been on rescue missions. We do the most. So what I do is next level. It's like, it's through hypnosis, but it's still happening. Just because, see, that's what people don't understand, right? And so we create. And so, yes, I help manifest things, but it's quite unique. Dawn, how would you say like the journeys are for people who are curious?
The way I could best explain it, and I'll try to do this quickly because I know we're running short on time, is like if you understand the concept that there's an infinite number of realities and possibilities within the universe, when she puts us under regression, we can actually go to different stages of our consciousness. And when she takes us into outer space, because at some point in outer space, in some dimension, in some time, I am on a spaceship, right? So she's literally just taking us to that frame of space and time.
Okay. That makes
Yeah. So I created
It's like a past life regression, but in fast forward. You're just going to a different stage in time of your consciousness.
Yeah, because we're creating this. So we created this team, and one of Dawn took a nap before we went to go do one of our sessions, and in between after his nap, he woke up. He had bruises all over his feet. Looked like an elephant stepped on him. Felt like he had a broken nose. He felt like he was put back together. And he was just dreaming, and he woke up from a 20-minute nap, and that's what happened. So I took him back into that dream to find out like what happened. And we looked deeper into it, and apparently the team that he's with in the future is our team that we created. And so we are a super space team that is here that is helping after the fall. So after everything happens,
So everything
we are
in line. You guys were meant to meet here because, yeah, okay. I guess.
well, and then not only that, they've been taking Don since he was a kid, so he got to go back and find out. So somehow it's all interconnected like a figure eight. It is so bizarre. So all I know is I'm an instructor in the super space future program, right, Don? Like you went to the school and everything. Make it brief.
Yeah, that's another, I know, that's another whole other story. The night that I was 15 years old in this reality, went to school for 5 years while I was asleep, and then woke up the next day. So yeah, it was kind of weird. But yeah, I won't keep you guys for that because I know everybody's got to go.
Yeah, but so basically, Jessie, you should check out my YouTube page if you're into this kind of stuff. I got some interesting stories for you.
Okay, I'll definitely check it out. I'm going to for sure, and definitely got to give me your information anyway because we need somebody from MUFON to have people to send to. So that would be great too.
Yes, definitely. If do you have an email? Can you send it to DJ Pooh Bear over here, Don, Mr. Rogers?
Yeah, I got it up.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. I hope the listeners have enjoyed this. This is probably going to be a part one. I'm sure I'd love to have you back on and talk to you some more about all kinds of stuff. I love the investigating part. I'm a detective at heart.
Awesome.
I've always wanted to, I used to catch my boyfriends cheating so good and tell them a long time later. I'd be like, oh yeah, by the way, I already knew.
Oh my God. See, it's right up your alley, MUFON and investigation.
Yeah. Well, I hope you have a wonderful night, and thank you so much for joining us. So that has been our show. Any last words? Any shout outs to anybody out there you'd like to give a shout out to?
No, I'm good. I appreciate you guys having me on, and I appreciate your invite.
Awesome. All right. So on a count of three, I guess we could all say bye. So 1, 2, 3, bye.
Bye.
Bye.